It's time to get this engine out. First step is to drain the oil. So I've got a screwdriver holding it from spinning there, and I put a bar in the sprocket back there, and I just want to keep it from spinning. Because I'm using an impact wrench, I should be okay here, and it's probably not going to take off on me, but I just want to be sure. And I'm just going to do it a little shot, just in case it wants to roll on me. Oops. There we go. That's all it took. Easy peasy. So I've got the sprocket off. Now I need to look around. I've disconnected all of my spark plug wires, being sure that they are labeled first. There's 1, 2, and 3 and 4. I'm going to pull this horn off of here, get that out of the way, but we are going out the right hand side, so it really isn't in the way at this point. But I've got stator wires here which are connected to the engine, but I just need to make sure they're not also connected to the frame in some way down here. And we've got engine mount bolt here. We've got here. We have these brackets holding there, so I'll remove those brackets. Same thing on this side. Engine mount down here with a bracket, so take the whole bracket away. And then should have one right here. And that is going to be it. And then I will have to lift the engine upward slightly and come out the right hand side. So this has got to come off, and we should have it. So let's get some of that stuff done. Foot pegs are 17 millimeter. And an open end wrench, or box end wrench at this point. It's helpful here because you have a hard time getting a socket and ratchet in here. So, you know, these tools are not expensive, although they do add up if you're starting with nothing. But I have found that a cheap set of wrenches takes me, and one, decent 3/8 inch socket set. My gosh, that'll take you a long way. One thing I forgot, need to remove this gear position indicator switch that sends a signal up to that, gear position indicator in the instrument cluster. So that's just probably JIS, but I've got a Phillips that'll fit that. And then that's got to be disconnected. Be sure you don't, that should be fine. That has to be disconnected from this clamp up on top of the engine, because this wiring piece stays with the harness on the bike and does not come out with the engine. The only wires that should come out with the engine will be the wires from the stator and the hot wire to the starter. I'll take that back. There's one other set of wires that will go with the engine. They come out of the points here, go down around here, and come up right here, and they connect up here to our ignition coils. So I'm going to need to disconnect these and label them for the points. This rear one, I got to put a 17 millimeter on this side, and then come around here, 17 millimeter again, and I can just loosen from over here. This is one big bolt coming through here, and there is a spacer on this side I want to show you. Conscious of. I believe there's a washer there too. I don't want to lose. Yes. Sorry for the vomit comet trip here, but right in here there is this spacer, so when I pull this bolt out I'm going to want to hang on to that guy. So and then I'll put these all back together and label them. And I've got one box going over there with just all engine mount parts in it. So here's that spacer. It's nice they keep the washer pieces welded to the spacer, and that long bolt. So I'll just put the washer here and the nut on the end. I don't think I will mistake that as having any other purpose than rear engine mount bolt, but you know, if in doubt, throw a piece of tape on it with your marker and label it. I'm not going to forget that. There's nothing else on the bike like it. So then it's hard to see almost, but these two bolts here hold a bracket back here that's got to come out of the way, because we're coming out this way. And just for fun, these bolts on similar brackets up front had a 13 millimeter head on them. So of course these two are 12 millimeter. I don't know why they would do something like that, but anyways, different size. Starting to get some tension now with gravity pulling things down. Here's an interesting little nut. Definitely going to keep that with its mated screw and label that as right side bottom front. This guy down here is next. 14 millimeter. That is probably going to have another one of those funky nuts on it. And it does. So we'll label that left front bottom. And then I'm using my knee to push up a little bit. I work this bolt out of here because it's under some tension from the weight of the engine. But it is slowly coming out. So here's my solution, is a small pry bar. I originally came in from this side but realized I'd be prying down, and since I don't have front forks on here, this whole thing's going to tip that way. But I can get just under the engine and against the frame here a little bit and pry that up, and out it comes. So cheap set of pry bars is useful. And this bracket needs to come off. I think we are 12 millimeter. Where is my ratchet? I'm going to put these screws back in the frame for now. They don't thread into the bracket, they thread into the frame, so where they thread in is the safest place to store them, unless I feel like they're going to be in the way in some way, but I don't in this case. And I believe with this one right here, it's a long rod that goes through the back bottom of the engine. I believe I'm on the final one. There. As far as I know, we'll see if I'm wrong, and if I am, I'll turn the camera off and hide that from you. I think I've got all the engine bolts out. Okay, that engine is loose. I'm going to try to manhandle that out of there myself. Wish me luck. Get some cardboard down on the concrete, or if you had a carpet, I suppose that would be a good idea. This thing is heavy. Let's see. What do I gotta get over? Oh, I gotta get over the oil pan. So I have to lift this up about an inch. And a lot of guys will tip the whole thing over on the ground and then lift the frame off of it. Seems pretty barbaric to me. Maybe I'm a fool. Keep the back straight. So I need to come up. I think what I'll do is use the gear shift lever as a handle. Yeah, that's got some leverage on it. And it seems strong enough to handle that. Got to kick it. I just first want to get it up on top of the frame on this right hand side over that oil pan. And then I'm going to keep a foot down on the center stand so that the frame doesn't lift up with me. The other problem is this air box. I think what I may do, that'll just float with it. Okay, so now I'm on top of the oil pan. Might have made sense to get these parts out of the way first, but they're not hanging anything up. Well, I can't. There is no coming back. But there is twisting it upward a little bit. Okay, I'm going to go wash my hands and put on gloves. I think I'll have a better grip on it then. Might help if I get that horn off. Can't believe the horn got in the way. I think the oil filter cap's got to come off. Well, I'm going to take that back. I've got the oil filter out, but there's there's 3 studs that come out and hold that thing on, and this bottom stud right here protrudes out just as far whether the cap is on or not. So, I mean, maybe I shaved off the tiniest amount by removing the nut, but geez, a millimeter maybe? Maybe that's what it'll take. We'll see. This air box, they say leave it in there and let it free float, but gosh, I have a hard time believing that. It's really a menace. Okay, I think I found the problem. I had 2 bolts, these 2, still mounted in the air box because of my habit of just keeping bolts where they go, and they were hitting up against this frame piece and holding that thing in the way. And I think now I am loose enough to where I've got the clearance I need. I think that air box was hanging me up by just the smallest amount. We'll see. That was it. Okay. One engine. I may not be a fan of that airbox. So, one engine out of the frame. That ends this video. I'm going to take a nap. Actually, I'm going to go take care of my back. It's not bad, but I'll be feeling it.